What is up, guys? In today's video topic, we're going to be talking about the brand split in the WWE, or should I say the lack of the brand split. So as we know, officially the brand split still kind of exists, but in reality that's not really the case anymore, and I'm probably in the minority, but I for one would actually like to see the brand split, a fully enforced brand split I should say, come back into today's WWE. I do get why the WWE doesn't really do the brand split anymore. The roster is, maybe arguably thin and hasn't produced enough top stars over the last couple of years or so, but still, I think personally for me, putting everyone on the roster isn't necessarily good for the long term of the WWE, and definitely isn't helping in producing some new WWE stars. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fans, probably the younger fans watching this video, who have never really seen the brand split properly in the WWE before, but back in 2002 now, which seems like an incredibly long time ago, the brands were separated into two, and generally speaking, Raw and SmackDown were kept completely separate. I think it was the following year in 2003 when Raw and SmackDown kind of took it a step up, and Raw and SmackDown actually started having their own brand exclusive pay-per-views. So obviously Raw only featured Raw matches, and then SmackDown pay-per-views only featured SmackDown matches, which was kind of cool at the time. It made the two brands seem like two legit, completely different companies. And admittedly at the time, some of the SmackDown exclusive pay-per-views weren't that great, but that was mainly because the WWE was always intent on raping SmackDown of their star power and putting the SmackDown stars over on Raw. So like I said, the SmackDown pay-per-views weren't always good, but that was down to the WWE not really having Raw and SmackDown on an equal footing. But still, overall, I liked it. Having a properly enforced brand split definitely helped kind of make feuds worth seeing, because you'd have feuds and matches involving superstars that maybe haven't crossed paths ever, or maybe haven't crossed paths in years, due to the brand split. But then when these superstars finally did cross paths because of that brand split and because of that brand separation, these matches felt fresh and these matches felt huge. The same goes for actual Raw vs SmackDown matches. For example, at Survivor Series, they were cool. You'd had legit fans of both brands and legit superstars that maybe disliked each other's brands as well. So good memories, and overall some definitely good times in the WWE, especially in the early half of the brand split. And not to mention, one of my favourite parts of the brand split in general was the draft. I'm sure a lot of you guys already know what the draft is, so I'm not going to be going into details to explain it, but the draft was always awesome. It created new feuds every single year and new matches that we hadn't seen in years or maybe ever before, and generally overall freshened up the roster on both Raw and SmackDown every year, which kind of really helped the freshness of the company in general. So I for one definitely missed the draft shows in particular. I mean, I can't actually remember the last one, but the draft shows were always good. And like I said before near the top of the video, today's roster is arguably thin and arguably not as good as previous years. Obviously, that's down to your own personal opinion, but still, looking at today's roster, I still do think a fully enforced brand separation would work and improve the product overall in the long term. I do get in some ways the brands even till today are kind of somewhat separated, but that is more for house shows and tours, and basically all down to money, and I do get why they do that. But as far as WWE TV goes, Raw and SmackDown, the brand split kind of ended a long time ago, especially over on the Raw side now with Raw being 3 hours. I probably wouldn't go as far as to saying that to bring back brand exclusive pay-per-views, because I don't think that would necessarily work with the current rosters, but definitely I do think separate weekly shows with exclusive rosters and such would definitely be cool. Keeping talent apart would be a good thing long term, so that way when there's a big match that WWE want to do down the line, there's a bigger chance and a bigger possibility that the two superstars in that match have the possibility of being separated from each other's brand all year, or however they want to go about it. But not only that, I think having the brand split fully enforced again is going to help develop some future WWE stars, as well as give some current big stars a deserved push that maybe they haven't had in recent years. So off the top of my head, maybe guys like Daniel Bryan and Chris Jericho. For me personally, I don't think those kind of guys should be kicking off shows. They should be in the main event of shows. So having the brand split back in full force would obviously help out guys like that, and it would obviously thin out the rosters individually overall, but it would give guys like Chris Jericho, Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler, despite Ziggler being the champion, a chance to headline their respective show and not get lost in the shuffle like they do so often now each and every week on Raw, normally at the hands of John Cena. So having the brand split back in place is going to help guys like the guys I mentioned. It's also going to help guys like Cody Rhodes, who a few years ago we were talking about as a potential main event star. So a brand split with less big stars on each show is going to force with WWE to really push the younger, smaller name guys up a little bit more. So a guy like Cody Rhodes, I feel, would really benefit from a brand split taking place again. Not to mention, with Raw and SmackDown, you know, more or less be a mix, or at least Raw definitely get him a SmackDown talent. Having the World Champion and the WWE Champion on the same show doesn't really make sense, you know, having two World Champions. So having Raw and SmackDown completely separate again, and having the belts, be it that being WWE and World Heavyweight Championship, completely separated again, that is going to give the world title some much needed credibility again, and not only the actual championship belt, but the World Heavyweight Champion, currently Dolph Ziggler, would actually get a chance to main event shows as a true world champion should. It's probably worth me mentioning that in order for the brand split to work, then Raw would have to go back to a regular 2-hour show just because of the roster size and such, but at least in my opinion, I think Raw would benefit from going back to a 2-hour show, and that's the kind of general feeling I get from a lot of fans as well that I speak to. So Raw would have to go back to a 2-hour show, but in saying that, guys, in all likelihood, this brand split, at least a proper enforced brand split, we are not going to be seeing in WWE again. But for the arguments and points I've mentioned in this video, I for one would definitely like to see it. Just imagine the initial draft show with the brands being separated once again. It'd be great, it'll be huge, and make for some really entertaining WWE TV, and maybe it would make WWE TV actually must see again. But anyway, guys, down in the comments section, let me know your thoughts. Would you guys like to see a fully enforced brand split once again between Raw and SmackDown? Do you think it would work? Or do you like having Raw and SmackDown pretty much mixed together and think another brand split would be a bad idea? So let me know all that and more down in the comment section below. But that is about it from me on this video, guys. If you enjoyed it or found it interesting, then please support the video and my content in general by leaving the video a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet already. But until next time, this has been 101. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you all on the next one.